Hello gainers, I'm Ralphie and welcome once again back to my channel called Fitter Philosophy, in which I share my personal, practical, experience-based, stoic, philosophical observations with you. Right, a bit convoluted that, but basically experience and common sense, practicality, you know what I mean. And my subject today is hard times. And the reason I'm talking about this is because I'm observing the dialogue going on the likes of YouTube and in other platforms, a few comments appearing in Facebook. And it's about the fact that people are now realising that globally there is a significant downturn. And unfortunately, because there has been a prolonged period over the last 10 years of general prosperity for many countries and relative stability, certainly when you compare recent times to older human history, people have got used to the fact that things are relatively stable and we're not experiencing the likes of inflation, anxiety, job insecurity, family stresses, and the sudden, very impactful rise in the cost of living, particularly fueled, excuse the pun, by the prices at gas stations. And so long as you understand the whole situation is being manipulated, and it's being manipulated for a number of reasons, but one of them includes the overheating of the global economy. And I'm using that word global again because we really are, there's no point in denying it, we're in the greatest, most comprehensive global situation in human history for a simple reason: technology, particularly communications technology. And communication is a powerful thing, and it's very tempting for certainly the mainstream media, or should we even call them mainstream media anymore? The owned media, boss media, manipulative media, agenda media, we'll call it all these things because that's part and parcel of it, to start to encourage people to be frightened and fearful and full of anxiety and insecurity. And the reason for this is simple, because the more frightened people are, the more you can control them. So a surge in inflation, in the cost of living, in job insecurity, in general anxiety, is something which people who have positions of power and have the ability to manipulate, they're not going to let the opportunity to go to waste. They're simply doing what they predictably do and always have done. It's part of the transparency of human behaviour. And my recommendation to you is this, under these circumstances. Back in the 1970s, when I left school, unemployment was very high. There was this same situation, but there was no internet. And basically I had to just go out and knock on doors and find a job. And my first few jobs, the pay was absolutely lousy and I get treated very badly. I was exploited. But it didn't last for very long because I took the opportunity to learn from that experience from the perspective of actually being in the thick of it and experiencing it, and also being young. So I took it on board. And then I moderated my expectations. In fact, I grew up fast. That's a beautiful way of putting it. I just grew up fast because I was beyond the shelter of my home, and I couldn't go back because it would be a sign of defeat for me. Therefore, I dug into my reserves. I dug into my inner strength, and we all have that inner strength, and don't underestimate your own. Don't do it. And I played a game of patience. I went to college and I got some qualifications in catering. I'd had a few jobs in catering. I started as a chef, then I worked in hospitals, and then I managed a restaurant for a couple of years until I was made redundant. And there, at that point, I faced my second crisis of suddenly a loss of income and actually getting unemployment benefit. And it was a very small amount, very small. At that point, knowing the circumstances as they were, I really pulled in my spending to make the most of what savings I had. And I ate very simple meals, economical meals. I didn't heat the house. I sat in the house with a jacket on. I had a coal fire, which basically I went out and asked the neighbours if any firewood going or any pallets to be broken up, and I went out and I collected this firewood, hand sawed it up and used it as biofuel, and that's what I did. And it was actually happy times. I felt that I was in the trenches, and it was a matter of relying on myself and having confidence in myself, knowing there was something round the corner, that times would get better, and not getting too negative. Knowing I was in a negative place, but focusing on the positive. This is so important. If there's one simple trick I can give you, I've just told you it right now. When situations are negative, focus on the positive things you can control. Take control of your situation. And 3 months after I got made redundant, I got a job, very unexpected. It was in the paper, trainee funeral director. I thought, now there's a job where you won't get made redundant. I don't know how long I can do the job. I don't know if I'm even suited to the job, but I'll just apply. And I did that job for over 20 years, and it was a very satisfying job. It wasn't particularly rewarding by my employer in the way they treated their staff, and the mediocre pay and attitude. But that's Britain. That is British culture. But you just get on with it. You tough it out. You focus again on the positives and deal more objectively and dispassionately with the negatives. And I learned an awful lot from that, because I never spent more than I could afford to spend. I only ever got in debt for my mortgage, no other debt, zero debt. If I couldn't afford it, I didn't buy it. And that's why I have always worn plain, unbranded clothes. Not because I can't afford anything else, but I choose to do so. I choose to go practical, decent quality, completely unbranded clothes, and it's another way of controlling my costs that have allowed me to save and add to my pension. And also because I have had to use my initiative and be self-reliant, and the more you practice being self-reliant, the better you get at it. I have seized other opportunities. I got into whiskey, I got into motorbikes. Sure, motorbikes is an expensive hobby, but hey, I moderated that expense. I bought once, only once, I bought a good bike, and I have kept it. I wasn't trading in. I never bought flashy designer motorcycle gear. I bought basic practical stuff at a third of the price. And I've always done that, and therefore I am solvent. And now that we're facing another global economic downturn, I hear all the negativity out there as much as you do, but don't buy into it. Listen to it and let it pass you by, because things are never as bad as people would like to tell us they are. When they tell us they're bad, they're trying to sell us the bad news. They're trying to grab our attention with despondency and negativity. Sure, be aware of it, but focus on the positives of the moment, because this empowers us. It allows us to take control of whatever situation comes our way. And that is my advice to you at this moment in time. All our circumstances are different. All of us have a little bit of luck in life. But do you know what? It's the positivity with that little bit of luck that will greatly amplify it. In the same way that if we dwell and allow ourselves to be possessed by negativity, it will only make the situation worse. I'm Ralphie. Talking of positivity, enjoy the view. It's quite scenic. It's the end of the day, the sun is going down, and there's a kind of lovely ambience and a coolness in the air. And it's free. It's absolutely free. Many of the best things in life are free. We just have to disconnect from that negativity and from other people's agendas and go with our own agendas. See you soon. And thank you to all my subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, please join the team. Bye.